So this is the third part of sketching Leonardo DiCaprio, and if you haven't seen part 1 and 2, you can check out on my channel also. And for the third part, our focus will be shifted from forehead to second eye and the remaining part of nose and left side and right side part of cheeks. So different of this third part from first and second part is that there is so many mid-tones and dark tones, and not completely dark tone but dark tone and light tone also. So to blend these three type of things, you should know how to shade, and shading is the basic thing that you should know. And if you don't know how to shade, just comment down below. I will make another tutorial how to shade and how to blend things. So after knowing these things, I just want to tell you that subscribe and like also. It will help me make more this type of tutorials. And now again we are going to focus where the more and more details are going on. So zoom out your picture as much as you can, sharpen your pencil and use a little bit more details as compared to your portrait that you are using, or I always recommend that use a high resolution picture. But what most of the time it happens that if you are using a commission artwork or someone told you that just make my picture, most of the time the photos are not HD or not much detailed. So while making a detailed photo, you should focus that if you are having a detailed photo or HD photo, you know that there are so many skin texture, so many details. But while using a common photo, there is so many parts which are completely flat. And while making those parts into a drawing paper, it is literally more hard as compared to make more details. And the problem is that if you see a flat look on the picture that you are using, just make that flat look. Don't apply details, because if you haven't make 200 or 300 sketches, you don't know where the skin texture direction is going on, where the nose ends, where the eyes ends, and this type of things you don't know. So first of all, make 100 or 200 sketches and learn how shading comes, how base layer you can apply, how darker and lighter tone you should use. And after that, just apply texture or details as much as you can. But if you are an intermediate or beginner artist, just don't apply details if you don't know how to apply details. This is the best thing that I can say you, and focus on shadings. Now if you want to see a complete real-time sketch of this Leonardo DiCaprio and every sketch that I have uploaded in this particular channel, you can check out my second channel, which is Shwet Sketches 2.0, where I have uploaded a complete 10-hour or 11-hour sketches of every portraits. Now in a real-time sketch, or if you will see the real-time sketch, you will see more pressurized pencils, how I apply pressure, how I use eraser, and so many details. You will check out my second channel also, which is Shwet Sketches 2.0. And if you have a language barrier and if you want to learn it in Hindi channel or Hindi language, you can check out my channel Shwet Sketches 2.0 and Shwet Sketches Hindi also for Hindi language. Now after discussing these type of things, the base layer should be always H, as the skin tone of Leonardo is lighter. So after making a base layer, now blend it using a tissue. But the thing is that don't blend the outlines that you have made in part 1, because if you will leave the details or outlines, your sketch you will lose out the details that you want. And if the 0.1 or 0.2 centimeter details is gone, or the outlines is more blended with the tissue, your sketch will look a little bit flourish. Or what I mean about back, or what I mean about saying that your sketch will look not good, is that if someone's nose is 2 centimeter and if you will make it 2.2 centimeter, it will be visible if you are making a sketch in bigger parts like A3 or more bigger portions, because you don't see so many details while it is on a phone or smaller things. But while zooming out, or while they're making it into a A3 sheet or bigger than A3 sheet, your mistake will be visible easily. So don't make these mistakes. Just don't blend the outlines first of all for the base layer. So after shading these things, make outline using shading. Shading is the base technique to make outlines, but in first part we have made outlines so that you can apply those parts completely and directly. So after knowing these things, just make outlines with shading, and now focus on the details that you want to apply using 2B pencil on the only parts which you see are little bit more darker, as the left eye is little bit smaller on the upper or vertical side, not horizontal side, because horizontal side of eyes are always equal. If the left side eye is 2 centimeter, then of course right hand side will be 2 centimeter also in horizontal. But if you will just close your left eye and right eye will be open, so of course the left side of eye will be vertically 0 or 0.1 centimeter, and right hand side eye in vertical will be 0.5 or 0.7. so I'm not talking about this direction or this dimension, I'm talking about horizontal centimeters. So of course you should focus on these things. And while blending the eyebrows with eyes and downside part of eyelashes also, you should focus that after making base layer, just use a 4B pencil for the darker parts, blend it with the skin texture, and again make those darker parts with 5B pencil, and then again blend it with the background, because the end part of eyebrows and end part of eyes, there are a little bit more darker shades which completes a sketch. There is not a completely darker look, but it is little bit mid-tone as compared to center part of eye and downside part of eye. So after focusing on these things, now we are going to focus on the cheek part and nose part. For the cheek part, the completely left side part and completely right hand side part, these are the two portions which are a little bit more darker, but you should not directly use a 3B pencil and make darker parts, because the center part, which is left hand side part of nose and right hand side part of nose, will be a completely white, and no skin tone and nothing of any people in this world is completely white. So use a H pencil for the base layer, and above the base layer for the first layer use a 2H or B pencil, so that you can have a little bit more darker look on the completely left side part of cheek and completely right hand side part of cheek. So after making this type of details, now we are going to focus on the nose. I am just darkening the parts like the nose part, outline part of nose, and shading the outlines. I am not just using a mechanical pencil for making those outlines, as we all know that mechanical pencil will give you a little bit more darker look and it is not helpful for making shadings. You can make shading using a mechanical pencil, but if you are an advanced artist, you know how to apply pressure and how to blend with mechanical pencil. But mechanical pencil are most often used for the smaller parts. If you want to make skin texture, if you want to make hairs, mechanical pencil is so much useful. So after making a base layer, as you can see that I am using a 4B pencil for the downside part of nose and outlines of nose. I am not just directly using a 8B pencil to have a darker look. I am just using a 4B pencil for making those darker looks in each downside part of nose and the cheek part, where the layer a bit more shadows are going on. I am just using a 3B or 4B pencil for those parts only. So after making these parts, I am going to again use a 3B pencil for left hand side part of cheek and right hand side part of cheek, and blend it. I am blending it using a makeup brush, and or you can also use earbud, or you can also use a tissue. But I am recommending you that if you are using a tissue, just use tissue for the base layer, because above base layer there is only parts which are a little bit more darker, and darker parts you can use a blending stump, or you can also use a brush, or you can also use earbud. But the problem with the earbuds is that it will give you a little bit circular look, and the problem with blending stump is that if you have not sharpened or if you have not cleaned the blending stump, it will give you a little bit more darker look, and while erasing it you will have a small portion which is completely different from other parts of face structure. So you can also use makeup brushes or this type of things for blending of first layer on the skin tone, but mechanical pencils you can also use for skin texture. But problem with makeup brushes and paint brushes is that they are a little bit more softer. So while using a softer makeup brush or softer any type of painting brushes, you cannot have a completely flat or completely different type of look or good blending. on the skin tone. And while talking about first and second layer, to blend it you should use a tissue. Also you can use anything, just you should focus on pressure. And we will discuss the final part of remaining part of face while beard and things are going on part 4. So that was all for this tutorial. If you have learned something from this video, subscribe and drop a like, and comment down your question and queries regarding this tutorial. Meanwhile, take care of your loved ones too. Have an artistic day. Tattoos.